Good morning. I'm Bobby McCutcheon from the Williamsburg County Library, and this morning we are in an incredibly beautiful place. This is a treatment plant, water treatment plant, in the town of Hemingway, with the help of Dr. Chandler, who's right here next to me, have built a beautiful platform so people who can come out can see 3 ponds and the adjoining grasslands and identify birds that are out here. This is Dr. J. Chandler from Hemingway. We've interviewed him recently because he is a veterinarian and of special interest to us. But most importantly today, we're going to find out what Dr. Chandler does when he comes out here. What this is, what these things are, and what people do out here. So Dr. Chandler, could you tell us why we're standing on this platform?
Oh, absolutely. We're here today to observe the ponds, looking for lots of different types of birds, to see if there are any rare birds, and enjoy the beauty of nature. It's a wonderful morning as the purple martins fly overhead talking to us. We use this platform that was built by the town of Hemingway to get higher so that we can look down on these ponds to see if there are any birds around the edges or on the solar panels that are in the middle of these ponds or in the trees around the edges, and in this beautiful blue sky that we are enjoying today.
Now you have your eyes to look with, but you also have these. What are these things you have?
Yes, tools of the trade. Bird watchers need binoculars. Binoculars have 2 viewing spots, one for each eye, so that you can focus and look at birds that are far away that you cannot recognize with the naked eye, but with the magnification or with the magnification of the binoculars, they look much closer and you can see the colors and the shapes and the behaviors much better.
Now binoculars come in different, they have different numbers on them. This one is an 8x32. This is a butterfly binocular mainly. It can focus really, really close. Your binoculars are different than mine.
Yes, they are, and they're probably a little too big for what I do. These are 16 by 50s.
Ooh, yes.
And the 16, it says that they magnify more than the 8. The problem with having more magnification is trying to hold them still, because you get a lot of vibration when you're looking at a distance.
Now what's the difference between my 32 and your 50?
That is the field of view at 100 yards. So if we look down the road at 100 yards, you would see 32 feet and I would see 50 feet.
Okay. So birding binoculars, probably you want more field of view than in my butterfly binoculars, where I'm
actually your butterfly binoculars will work quite well for birding.
And I do use them for that.
Probably the most popular birding binocular is a 10 by 42. So it's sort of in between yours and mine.
Right. Now we have a gigantic thing on legs sitting in front of us. It has 3 legs, so it's called a tripod.
Yes.
And it has this beautiful beast on top of it. So tell us what this is and how that works.
So we talked about the binoculars. This is a monocular because it only has one eyepiece. So you look through it with one eye, but it's called a spotting scope, which is very similar to a telescope that is used to look at the moon and the stars and the night sky. But a spotting scope is used by birders to get more detail at a greater distance. So if it's a bird way across the pond that we can barely identify, we use our spotting scope to get a closer look because it magnifies it so much.
And we've already used these a lot this morning.
We have.
We found spotted sandpipers, killdeer. What else did we see? Well, some of the color on some of the little herons we saw this morning.
Yes, we saw little blue herons. We saw several colors of little blue herons because their feathers change as they grow up. They start out as a white bird, then they start changing and become speckled with blue and white, and eventually as an adult they become blue, and that's where they get their name of little blue heron.
Now we also saw a duck that I thought was a female wood duck, but Dr. Chandler knew what it was, and it's not supposed to be here this time of year. It's supposed to be up north where it's cool, but here it is. What was that bird?
We have visiting us here at the Hemingway Water Treatment Ponds today a lesser scaup, which is a migratory water bird that does come south in the winter, but typically they would not be here this time of the year. And we do have one that is here visiting on our pond, so we wonder if it may be an injured bird or has difficulty flying. But it's been here for about a month, and so it may stay until winter when some of its friends come back from up north.
So maybe he just lost his ticket and he didn't know he was supposed to get on the train. He didn't know
Well,
what he was
either that or
supposed
he
to do.
couldn't get on the train.
Yeah. So we'll take care of him here.
Yeah, we'll let him rest here and feed and swim around with our resident mallards, which is another duck that we have here all the time.
Now you have some little teeny tiny, like this big, diving birds, and they are feeding in this pond as well. Could you tell us about those?
Yes, we do have a colony of least terns. Least terns are shorebirds. They should be at the ocean, but because people have constructed buildings on their historical nesting sites, they have had to adapt to other environments, and so these birds have decided to use a location in Hemingway to nest, and then they use this nearby treatment pond to feed and train their fledglings, which are the little birds that are just learning to fly.
Now, what do these birds eat out of the ponds? What are they finding to eat? And what are those birds that are feeding along the shore? What are they eating? And what are these purple martins eating?
You want to know a lot, don't you? That's a lot of questions at one time.
Okay, first,
Okay.
the diving birds, what are they eating?
The little birds that are flying around, the least terns, they are catching minnows, small fish, out of the pond, and they eat those small fish and they feed those small fish to their young. The purple martins are flying around in the sky looking for insects of whatever variety might entice them. The ducks just feed through the algae and filter nutrients out of the waters. The killdeer that are walking around on the edge is actually considered to be another shorebird. They feed on a variety of worms, insects, and other creatures that they can find along the bank.
How about the spotty, the little spotted sandpiper?
Little
He goes like this.
Yes, he bobs his tail up and down. And he's called spotted because he has lots of spots on his chest. And they are a sandpiper, which again is a shorebird. So it is exciting to have these birds here in Hemingway because we are more inland. The spotted sandpiper is basically feeding just like the killdeer, although they do get in the edge of the water and find other little crustaceans and worms and algae and all sorts of things that are in the edge of the water of the pond.
Now I just saw a white bird fly by with yellow feet. He was an egret or heron, so how do I know a white bird by yellow feet's name? Who would that be?
Yellow feet.
Yellow feet.
Yellow feet is an identifying characteristic of the snowy egret. The snowy egret. It also has a black beak and usually a little yellow around its eye. And it is one of the white birds that we see. And just this past week, I saw here in these ponds an unusual white bird that attracted several birders from other areas in South Carolina, and it's known as a great white heron.
Ooh.
It is actually a great blue heron that is white instead of blue.
So you call that a color morph? What do you call that?
Yes.
Or a weird bird?
Yeah, it's an unusual bird, but there is a population of these great white herons in southern Florida, and they are rarely seen north of the Florida state line. So to have one here in Hemingway was quite a treat.
And you didn't even call us. Next time you'll need to call us.
There we go.
Now these purple martins we love because they eat mosquitoes, so people love them. But they come in early in the spring, don't they? And then they leave pretty early in the summer. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. These birds are migratory. They spend their winters in South America. And then starting usually in February, they start returning to farther north to nest and raise their young. And they do that between April and July. And then in July, they start their trip back to South America. And as they start that trip, there are several gathering spots in South Carolina where these purple martins will gather in numbers of millions instead of 40 or 50 like we have here at Hemingway Treatment Ponds.
One of the interesting things here at the ponds is you have fences going around which allow birds to sit on them. Like there's a kingbird over here sitting on the fence. And in all the trees surrounding us and the ditches surrounding us, Dr. Chandler, who knows bird songs, can tell you what's calling. So he's heard a yellow-billed cuckoo this morning. He's heard a fish crow this morning.
I heard a wood duck.
A wood duck, that's right.
I heard a green heron.
Oh, did you?
A pileated woodpecker.
Oh, yes.
A fish crow, because there are two kinds of crows, but you can only tell them apart by the sounds that they make.
What sound does a fish crow make?
A fish crow says, ah, ah, instead of call, call, that the American crow sounds like.
Right, and the American crows are big crows, right?
They are larger, but seeing an individual bird the size can be difficult to detect.
So you would want to learn the call.
You need to learn the call of the crows,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Is there anything else you want people to know about this incredible space other than come here in the winter too when it's filled with ducks?
Yeah, there's not really a bad time to come enjoy this viewing platform, but in the wintertime, the ducks from up north move south, and lots of those ducks use these ponds as a resting area, and we can get anywhere from 12 to 15 different species of ducks in these ponds, which is very unusual.
And you have grebes and mergansers that come in. Do you have loons come in?
I have never seen a loon on these ponds, but we have had some unusual birds like a white-winged scoter
Ooh.
and avocets, and actually one day there were 3 roseate spoonbills feeding out here, which is a pink bird.
Mm-hmm. If you want to log on to see where Dr. Chandler notes birds, where should they go? What website can they visit?
The website is called, well, there's a couple of them. eBird is where we list, as citizen science, we submit lists of birds that we see. And if you register in eBird, then you can, through that website, see what others have seen. The Carolina Bird Club also has a website that is very useful because it has a photos link and it has a sightings link. The sightings link lists rare birds that are seen anywhere in North Carolina or South Carolina, so that others will know that these birds are around, where they are, and if they are, as we call, chaseable, which is what a birder does when he goes to find a rare bird.
So in case your friend Dr. Chandler forgets to call you and, and notify you about the roseate spoonbill on the pond, you can log on and see what they're finding. We should also mention something again. Dr. Chandler and the mayor of Hemingway, Michael Collins, received a very special award from the Carolina Bird Club because of their constructing this platform and the walkout here and promoting birding on this pond. And he is called our birding hero. It's a very special award, and we're really proud as people of Williamsburg County that we have these people here helping us learn about nature, the outdoors, promoting every day the beautiful things we have here. We'd like to thank you for being our host out here today. It's incredibly beautiful sight. We love it, and we're so thrilled that you could come with us. It means a lot more with you here.
Well, we're glad to do it, and we welcome all of you to visit the platform.
Bring your kids. They would love it. Give them binoculars for Christmas. Even little ones. They'll love it.